On the morning of the second day in Honolulu, we set out on a cruise to the famous Pearl Harbor. We boarded the cruiser American Dream. As there was not many on board that day, we had plenty of deck space on which to move around for viewing the coastline on the way down. It is interesting to note that Pearl Harbor is shielded from the Pacific Ocean by a narrow channel through which we had to sail. The Hickam Air Force Base is located on the right of the channel as the harbour is entered.
Our attention was drawn to a large pink building, being the hospital where the casualties of that Japanese air raid on the 7th of December 1941 were taken. The international airport is located further to the right of Hickam Air Force Base. This water tower survived the raid because the Japanese thought it was a religious monument. It stands today, though, as a monument to the Pearl Harbor attack.
They decided not to bomb it, decided to let it stand, and that's why it stands today as a historical landmark and remembrance of the Pearl Harbor attack. And the holidays, they decorate that water tower with solid Christmas lights.
Shortly we were approaching the harbour entrance, and sailing past the Hickam base, were informed that Air Force personnel spend about 4 years at this venue.
Passing the naval shipyard wharf with its large number of cranes, we could see how busy this port can be. In the early 1900s, Pearl Harbor became a base for the United States Navy and plays a major role in US military planning in the Pacific. Against the backdrop of the distant mountains, several naval ships were moored in mothballs in the event of future use. All that was left of this remote control target vessel was a twisted mass of steel. Unfortunately, the sun was not in a convenient position to film some of the sunken boats in the harbour. Cruising round into the East Lock, we could see many more naval ships tied up at the wharf.
On rounding Ford Island, we came in sight of the memorial building built across the bow of the USS Arizona. Visitors can be ferried to the memorial site, where more than 1,000 men were entombed in this vessel, and from the room-like memorial, part of the ship can be seen below the waterline. Oil still leaks from the sunken vessel. An oil bubble about the size of a large marble floats to the surface every few seconds.
On the return journey from Pearl Harbor, we were shown a short video of the tragic events of that Japanese attack in 1941. Approaching the city, we passed a yellow submarine, used to give tourists an underwater view of Mamala Bay. There was always a constant flow of traffic along the boulevard past our hotel.
And from the side of the boulevard, we were able to get a good view of the hotel building. Entering the hotel was also possible from an entrance off the narrow side street. From this entrance, a corridor bounded by shops on either side led us into the main foyer of the hotel.
From the ground floor level, we looked down into the dining area, alongside of which was constructed a huge aquarium, which took in the full length of the room and a full story in height. Large windows enabled guests to view the many species of fish happily cohabiting in the clear water. On dining here one evening, we were treated to a constant display of tropical fish and rays swimming past the window opposite our table. A young woman in scuba gear entered the aquarium to feed the fish just at that time, which enabled us to get some shots of the many species of marine life in the aquarium.
Look at the eyeball. Oh.
Yeah, I hope she's feeding. I'm not getting fed. Oh.
The following day, we boarded the American Dream once more, this time for a day of relaxation in the sun.
And out on the little fun and sun tour today. In addition to that, of course, you enjoyed the Pearl Harbor cruise with us. Nice to have you back.
The skipper anchored the cruiser 3 or 4 kilometres from Waikiki Beach, and I watched while the crew proceeded to lower 2 sets of steps into the water for us to get in some swimming in the bay. A giant floating trampoline was moored at the stern of the boat, and it was not long before guests were enjoying the cool waters of the bay.
One of the crew was stationed on a surf ski, constantly on the lookout for persons getting into difficulty. There was a variety of tropical fish to be seen around the boat, and snorkeling gear was available for the purpose of getting a clear view of the sea life below the surface of the water. Meanwhile, our hosts had set up the barbecue downstairs at the stern of the boat, and lunch was
Go
being
jump on the trampoline. Go down the slide a couple times. Did you get the slide?
Pardon?
Just try and get this.
Sausages and hamburgers were the order of the day, capped off with a variety of salads and fruit.
It was about this time that a shoal of fish swam around the boat, no doubt attracted by some scraps of food thrown overboard. After lunch it was time for a snooze and to enjoy the view of the coastline and Diamond Head from our vantage point out on the bay. Diamond Head is an extinct volcanic crater and was used by the ancient Hawaiians as a burial ground. In the early 19th century, British sailors mistook some volcanic crystals there for diamonds, and so it gained the name Diamond Head.
The young folk went back for a short time of snorkelling in the water after their lunch had settled. However, all too soon it was time to pack up and head back to Honolulu Harbour. The trampoline was hauled in and the surfboard taken up onto the deck. Then the job of attaching a rope to the two sets of steps was carried out in preparation for swinging them up and securing them into position.
As we headed back to the harbour, a turtle swam by on the starboard side. Apart from the turtle, the cruise back to the harbour was quite uneventful. Approaching the harbour and reflecting on the sight of the many craft, the high-rise buildings and the distant mountain ranges, we realised how much the islands rely on the tourist industry. Today, this industry contributes about $11 billion to the state's economy. The service industries account for about 90% of the gross state product. As we docked, we could see the bus waiting to take us back to our hotel. This was our last day in Honolulu, as we flew out to Los Angeles very early the following morning.